I think the Bears passing game is going to be fine. And I want to emphasize fine. I don't think they're about to go tear through the NFL here. The current number 1 seed in the NFC, Chicago Bears. That's right. You can't take it away from them. Not here in week 14, baby. It will live forever. So we all saw what Black Friday was, okay, where that team, the Chicago Bears, barreled over the Philadelphia Eagles in the run game. It was awesome to watch live.
It was
even more fun to watch on rewatch, although it was super fun to watch. Shout out to our buddy Sam. It was so fun to watch the Next Gen Stats Prime Vision broadcast, just seeing all the action that was going on at the line of scrimmage. And so it was great to see that run game. And then it was obviously you felt a lot of frustration in the passing game. I think that we've talked a lot about Caleb Williams over the course of the year, and it hasn't necessarily just been this steady uptick every week. It's been a little bit up and then back down and then up and then back down. And then, kind of, I think been peaks and valley. Generally, I think still trending in the right direction. But that's how this stuff goes. It's not just a steady ascent throughout the course of the season. And I think that this was definitely, a setback game for Caleb. It wasn't terrible, but it was a setback game, I think, in terms of just his progress over the course of the season. I will just say, though, rewatching the game on film and really charting out the plays and seeing everything, I think there's just still so much good here from a design perspective. And I also think from really thinking about this too, of course the run game is ahead of the passing game right now. If you just look at the two units, I mean, obviously everything is connected. They all play on offense. But if you just think about the players responsible for the run game, it's a lot of veterans on that offensive line. This is why they went out and got these guys. Why they got Jonah Jackson. Why they got Joe Tooney. It's why they, Darnell Wright has obviously been a multi-year starter at this point. Of course they're ahead of schedule. Even the back, DeAndre Swift is a veteran back, not a perfect back, but he's a veteran back. Those guys that control that run game, they're ahead of schedule in the passing game because you look at the passing game, it's a second-year quarterback, it's a second-year wide receiver. Now they're adding Luther Burden to the mix, a rookie wide receiver, a rookie tight end. It's a lot of young dudes in that passing game that I think at times you can feel how much everybody is still thinking. And I also think that when you watch this passing game right now, you feel the differences and some of the wrinkles that they've added along the way in the season. I think they threw a lot of Caleb Williams in training camp, and it was kind of a lot at the beginning of the season. And then they started to parse things back. And now, again, I think they're starting to add different personnel groupings in there where it is Luther Burden and Olamide Zaccheaus as the two receivers on the field. And I think Burden is a really promising player. I also think he's got a lot of work to do as a one-on-one route runner, whereas a guy like Rome Odunze, I think is still thinking a lot with kind of his evolving role, because they're asking him to do a lot of stuff as the insert player in the run game, and they haven't quite weaponized the play action off of that yet. But I do feel all that stuff is coming. And is it going to come this year? We'll see about that. I think they've got some tough matchups the rest of the way. So it's going to be tough here for Chicago. They do have some difficult matchups. They play the Packers twice. They play the Browns. There's going to be some tough defenses here. But if these young guys can just click, the light bulb can turn on, they can stop thinking as much and just let their play do the talking. I think there's still a lot of upside for everybody here. That's including the quarterback. It's including the pass catchers. I'm still really optimistic about where this team is. And I do think they look good enough to me, because if the run game is operating like this and they're really cooking there, and then the passing game can just catch up a little bit, we're talking about a team that I think can at least win a playoff game. That's where I view them right now. I don't view them as a joke. I don't view them as a team that is destined to get smoked in the first round by a better team or whatever. I think they could steal a playoff game. And this is kind of exactly how it went in Detroit. It was run game clicked first, and then the passing game turned on, because that passing game is so detailed. And these are some really young players that I think are still trying to get their everything figured out in this system.
Yeah, they just offensively, and I wrote them out a couple weeks ago, and now really have touched on the last couple of weeks. They're 10th in EPA per play, and that feels about right. And then it's they're DVOA, 12th in DVOA, 12th in passing, 4th in rushing. And if I were just to guess, I'd be that's about right. Their passing game's just outside; it's above average, even if it's inconsistent because it's so explosive. But the run game feels great. I know others have seen that, but that's been all season. I mean, really since the bye week, but even before the bye week, they had moments, especially against the Cowboys. Before Quinn Williams got there. But no, it's a offense that's really, I think, still ahead of schedule of where I expected them to be. I was optimistic that they could maybe climb up here, but already seeing it is really, really cool. The run game, of course, is successful. It's first in rushing success, or second in rushing success rate on running back runs, third in explosive runs, second EPA per rush. Okay, I think that's obvious. Passing game is Ben Johnson hunts for explosives, and it's different than. There's a lot of similarities. I would say maybe about 70% the same of what they did with the Lions, but they have tweaked some things based on the strengths of the quarterback and just maybe the offensive ecosystem. Tons of play action, tons of under center, all the stuff that you just hinted at and talked about, saying that they put a lot on Caleb's plate and put a lot on Rome Dunze's plate. That's a great point, by the way. They ask him to do so much stuff all over the field, inside, outside, inserting, blocking here, key blocks too, where he has to sift and sort out who he's getting. That's hard. I mean, and he's a second-year player doing that, which also speaks to how smart he is. I think that's why you and I really liked him. You could tell he's a smart football player. But they put a lot on Caleb. It's almost like a guy bulking up before he does cardio. I know, didn't you just do this like a year ago? You know, they just really bulk up.
I'm actually doing it right now.
Right now, right?
I'm back bulking up, baby. And I was thinking that. So I was sitting here thinking, like, God, that's a great analogy. I got to eat like 10 ounces of rice here in a minute or something. Like, I don't want to do this, but whatever.
That's what they did. A lot of protein, maybe some dirty weight. You know, there's some dirty gains there. And now they're stripping it down, and now you're seeing some of the abs and seeing some of the other muscles that I do not have anymore. But it's when you look at this, why they hunt for explosives, and again, it's an offense. I love this offense. It's one of my favorites in the league. Like, period. Is because they're betting we're going to get that one explosive, that one chunk play, and it'll make up for. Not, if we hit one out of two of those, that's much easier for us than trying to sustain 3 quick hitters in a row. And that's a math that I believe in, because I think that's exactly how you should go about it. And they push the ball a lot. They're middle of the pack. And so when I was talking about it's different offensive ecosystems, I thought they might run more screens, because I think Caleb's a good screen thrower, how creative he is. Of course, he threw a pick on a screen last game, but to receivers and stuff. And you see that. Luther Burden has a couple nice ones where you see those trick shots. But they're middle of the pack in screens, as opposed to maybe the Lions with Goff, they were top of the league, them like the Bucs with Baker. But he's first in the NFL in pass attempts of 10 or more air yards. 7th in rate, but first overall. He has 149 passes this year that have traveled 10 or more air yards. The league average among starting quarterbacks is 94. He has 50 more than the league average. He's 9th in yards per attempt. They run more play action than anyone. They run more under center than anyone. That stuff it takes time for the quarterback to get comfortable with it. It's not Matthew Stafford in year 15. That stuff takes time. And a lot of these guys, when I was a quarterback in high school and college, so this was the aughts, is that's right when shotgun stuff was becoming more popular. That was just so when I was getting into college, at Wisconsin, which was very traditional, we started sprinkling in a little bit more gun out of stuff. Now these kids are taught gun first, and then they work on under center stuff. It's backwards from how I grew up. So now these young quarterbacks, they have to get more comfortable with under center stuff. It's so funny how it's changed. They have to get more comfortable with that timing, and I think it's better. That is more conducive to long-term success, even if it is harder to do and harder to learn. But I remove screens from all quarterbacks' numbers on True Media. Caleb's air yards per attempt on non-screen passes, so I include play action here, but is 9.9 air yards, almost 10 air yards per attempt. It's 5th highest, but then I looked at who was above him. It's Mariota, J.J. McCarthy, Russell Wilson, and Jackson Dart. So a couple de facto rookies, Russell Wilson, who just chucks everything, and then Mariota, who's actually really playing pretty well in the Commanders' offense, but really just part-time guys. None of these guys have started the full season. So I think that is significant to what this offense is, and I think that's maybe I know people point out the completion percentage. Caleb had a couple sprays, I would say, in this last game, but I also thought he had some really nice moments where he progressed, got to the guy, and maybe something happened where he missed the guy. DJ Moore fell on a play. Luther Burden had an adventure of a route on another play where he stumbled as well.
Oh, I know.
Ben Johnson comes out with a quote.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, where he gets bumped. He tries to like get back on his vertical line, and then he slips because he's supposed to run the. I know Burden has been much more polished and better than I thought he would be as a rookie, which speaks to their coaching and speaks to a lot going on. Ben Johnson comes out with a quote this week, and he says the offense is succeeding in spite of the passing game. So everyone's like, oh, that's Caleb. He's talking about Caleb. If you listen to the quotes and you watch the game, he's talking about everybody. He's talking about the sloppiness of the receivers. And this gets to what's going on with the Lions a little bit. This offense that hunts big plays, if I'm throwing something 20 yards down the field, 30 yards down the field, that receiver better be at that freaking spot because I have to, because of just physics, throw with anticipation. You have to. There's no way, no one, even Caleb, who is one of the strongest arms in the NFL, has to throw with anticipation in the NFL. That's just how it works. The window's closed. So that's why Ben Johnson, you've seen the St. Brown quotes. I remember you brought this up in the podcast where they're joking, oh, is he getting on you about the splits and everything? Because if you're downfield, it has to be really detailed. Everybody has to be on the same page because of where the ball is and the timing of the route and everything. So that's what they're working through. That's what Ben Johnson was getting at, that we're winning in spite of that because of the receivers slipping, and it's because it's just all the young guys. So I'm with you. I think it's fine, and I would even say good. It's just that it's not a down-to-down quick hitting attack. This is by design. This is a heavy hitting attack. This is a home run hitting passing game that's trying to work on getting on base a little bit more. And I think they will do it down the road. But I think this is the operation. This team has 102 explosive plays this year. It's insane how many explosives they get. And that is just the design of the offense. So we're speaking the same language. It's just that I really do think that I'm optimistic about where this is going. But I do think this is just the design of it as well.
Yeah, the fixes actually seem pretty easy to point out. I think that's really encouraging. I know. Receivers just need to be a little bit more detailed here. And I'm giving these guys some grace because they're young. And like we mentioned, Dunze's got a lot on his plate. Burden is a young player who's transitioning to the league from a kind of a Mickey Mouse role in college. Colson Loveland looks awesome though. That's great to see. And they put a lot on his plate too, as like an isolated receiver, a tight end who was banged up in the offseason. So like those guys tighten up details there. And for Caleb, I actually think in a way Ben Johnson's almost by some of the stuff he's saying is encouraging him to hunt for less explosives. And sometimes he's like, when the primary is there and it's open, like just take it. And I think there are some times where he needs to take that, which will maybe not fix all of the sprays, but I think level, balance out the equation there. So it's not, I don't watch this and be like, this guy sucks. This guy sucks. Like, no, actually the fixes are pretty easy to find, which is encouraging in my opinion.
Yeah. In baseball, it's hit for contact, hit for power. They hit for a lot of power right now, and they just need to hit for contact a little bit more. That's kind of just how I look at the passing game. But at this point, independently, this was my next one, and it's about the Bears, but it's the Bears defense. And it's Kyler Gordon, and really overall Bears health is so important for the playoffs because of just what you're getting at, that they can be frisky. And I know they're the 1 seed and everything, but it can be where they actually win a game and maybe even more, because just what this defense was, which was one of the worst in the league, and now we're getting some health, that you're actually seeing that they can be average. And again, I know the AFC is more about this. The NFC has a way more complete teams. Packers, Seahawks, Rams are, I think, all really, really good and really freaking good. But this keeps the Bears alive in the playoffs, is if they get their defense just too average. And Kyler Gordon is a heck of a player, really good slot. He's a slot dynamo. And you can tell Dennis Allen is just like, oh, thank God you're back. And so it's him, it's Kyler Gordon, and then Jalen Johnson as well. Just DB health and linebacker health in general. But on field, Kyler Gordon has played 107 plays this year. They've allowed a 40% success rate, which would rank 4th in the NFL this year when he is on the field. When he's off the field, which is a lot of plays, over 600 or 600 on the dot, they allow a 58.8% success rate, which is 28th in the NFL. Their rushing defense, also better. They go from the 31st in yards per rush allowed into top half of the league in yards per rush allowed. But also what I thought was really more interesting when Kyler Gordon's in there is you get to really see Dennis Allen's kind of trickiness bump up a little bit. They go from middle of the pack blitz rate when Kyler Gordon's not on the field, 14th, 26.7%, to 38.8% blitz rate, which is second in the NFL when Kyler Gordon is on the field. They are just become a blitz-happy, crazy defense when he is on the field. And so I do think you could feel Kyler Gordon against the Eagles. There are several moments where they did some disguise stuff, and just because Gordon is so smart. There's a play that I've seen, because everyone breaks down the same 3 plays apparently. There's this one play, the first third down that the Eagles had, and everyone's getting on the Eagles design that they run all the time. And really the play blew up because Kyler Gordon, of the disguise that they ran, and Kyler Gordon jumped the route. He jumped A.J. Brown's slant route. And so this is just one guy. I'm not saying this defense is going to be top 10 all of a sudden, but they're just not going to be awful like they've been when Kyler Gordon's not on the field. Actually be more average and frisky. So Kyler Gordon going to really help out this Bears defense, and Jalen Johnson as well, and just everybody getting healthy on this Bears defense.
Now, I like this call a lot. And when you think about the Eagles, I don't think they really put your linebackers or your interior corners. I don't really think they put those guys in conflict. Right?
Not really.
I agree with you. Yeah, no. Only conflict they're putting on anybody is themselves offensively.
Yes.
Anyways, separate conversation. But
yes. I know Eagles conversation is like, oh, don't I don't want to do this again.
I thought about it. And I was like, God, who cares? We'll have another chance to do Eagles, existential crisis. There will be another chance to do it somewhere along the way here. But yeah, they don't really put you in conflict like that offensively. But the rest of their season schedule, the Bears, week 14, Packers, definitely a team that will do it.
Yes.
Week 15, Browns. Okay. Then we get the Packers again in week 16. We've got the Niners in week 17, and then we'll see what the Lions are in week 18. But those 3 games, Packers twice, Shanahan and the 49ers, like that will be a really good test for your theory here about Kyler Gordon, like more so weaponizing the defense and everything there. Like these 2 of the next 3 games straight up against Green Bay. I don't need to tell you those are big games, obviously, for the division, but even just what this defense can be and the sort of ceiling of it, I think that will be really important.